Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of this week's MMA Huddle. You're joined myself and Big Willie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be kicking off UFC Tampa picks shortly, and afterwards, Will is going to give us some little hints and tips on the betting side. Before we do all that, please hit that subscribe button. All the love is always appreciated. Give us your feedback down the bottom about your picks and bets, etc., what you're looking at and what you're looking forward to. Also, if you want to be a dick, don't be a dick, because you'll get blocked. And if you're a dick to Will, you're a dick to me, you'll get blocked, and I'll find you, and I will get Liam Neeson on you. Now, let's kick off, Will. Firstly, just say Adesanya, beautiful performance in Australia. Other than that, of a card, forgettable, other than the main event.
I didn't mind it. I thought there was bits and spots that were good, but Adesanya is just I always thought it'd be good. I didn't think he would be like an elite good. I'll be honest with you. I did think when I seen him, I thought you're going to be good. And I've tried picking against him before. I think I tried picking Brad Tavares against him because I thought that's a big step up against a guy that's pretty decent. And he kind of rode through him, but he's really he's wiped through everybody, to be honest with you. And like I know he had a tough fight against Kelvin, but the guy is a superstar. The guy is amazing, and he's like super confident with it. And I'm happy that we've got someone like that. I was a bit gutted for Robert because I am such a big fan of his. I think he's such a good fighter, but I don't think he fought a pretty good game plan. I thought he could have mixed up a little bit, but Adesanya, it's his spot right now. Adesanya's probably going to be, depending on what Masvidal does, he's probably going to be the fighter of the year. And consider last year, he was breakthrough fighter of the year. It's a pretty big 2 years for Israel Adesanya, so fair play to the kid. And he's only got big fights coming his way. It looks like it's going to be Borrachina up next, Paulo Costa, and then there's always stuff going on with him and John Jones. So who knows what's going to happen in the next 12, 18 months. But fair play to the kid. I thought he looked fantastic, and big things are coming for him.
Indeed it is, yeah. And some entrants. James Tahuna must feel a bit outdone by. But as we say, great main event, so to speak, with two elite fighters, and Robert Whittaker's still young. Super young. Plenty of time.
What it shows as well is that I really think that the UFC should treat Australia just a wee bit better than what they actually are, because I know they go there twice a year, and it's a long way for them to go down there, but like they had 57,000.
Yeah.
And for that card, and I know that like the fight on top that sells the card was amazing. You had obviously somebody from New Zealand, and you had a local guy from Australia, which is always going to sell. But like I know if that's me, like I would always show up to the first fight of the night just because it's just in my kind of DNA. Like I paid for my ticket, I'm not going to miss a fight, and I love watching fights. But honestly, I wouldn't be too miffed about missing some of those early fights that I saw. So I would really like them to. I think they're going to what Dan Hooker was saying. They're going to Auckland, so hopefully they're probably going to. I think they're going to make Dan Hooker against Paul Felder. I think that's the main event they're going to make down there. I think that's a good match for both of them actually. But like 57,000 people for the type of card that the UFC gave them, they must be there thinking we can do this again in the future. So hopefully they don't do that and they give them some more bigger fights, because that's a big market for the UFC, and if they start losing some of that, it'd be a bit of a ball ache. But fair play to all the fans for showing up for that.
Yeah, well, it shows that there's stadium events out there for them, and it should, the UFC could definitely do that a bit more often. Well, let's go to the UFC Tampa card. We said before, it's a good card. I like this card. I actually like this card better than the Australia card, which was pay-per-view. We've had one fight removed at the moment. Thomas Griffin has not had a replacement as of the time of recording. We are confident he probably will get someone, but right now he doesn't, so we're going to skip out any of that. Let's start, though, at the bottom of the card. We've got Marlon Vera against Andre. Well, Will, what are you looking forward to in this fight, bro?
I like Marlon Vera kind of catches a lot of shit on occasionally when you look on Twitter and such, but I like the run he's on now. I like where he's at with his career. I think he's still like 26 years old, so he's still young, and he's really, every fight you see him in the UFC, he seems to be gradually getting better. I still think he makes a lot of kind of mistakes that can be rectified. He might always be that type of fighter that's always going to make mistakes, but he'll capitalise on the opportunities that he gets. because you watch some of his fights and he gives people opportunities. Like Luigi Burin is one that always skips to mind. He was like giving him opportunities in that first round to clinch up and land some shots, but he finishes. That's what, like, when he gets the opportunity to finish, he takes it usually. And I think his last 4 fights he's won, he's finished all of them. I've never been super high on Andre Ewell, but I do believe that between fights, I think he will start to make improvements, and I think he's actually probably got a bit of a slight striking advantage over Marlon here. I think if Marlon was to uncork him with a shot, I think he could maybe put Andre Ewell down. I think Vera has more opportunities to win the fight if it hits the mat, but he's not really known as being an offensive wrestler. So I like Marlon Vera. I've never been super high on Andre Ewell. I think that he got rushed in. Well, I don't want to say he got rushed when he faced Nathaniel Wood. Maybe that's the right kind of step up for Nathaniel Wood, to give someone like a rangy striker, quite quick in and out of the pocket. But he had a good win over Anderson Santos last time. I just like Marlon Vera to find a way to win the fight, whether it be a stoppage or to potentially get a decision. I think Ewell is a little bit tougher to get away than some guys that he's faced. So I'm going to go Marlon Vera via decision.
Yeah, Andre seems that with some of his fights, he just lacks a little bit for me in that prowess on the finishing side. He lands some good shots, but then he doesn't really move on from it. It's almost like he resets and comes back again. Dos Santos fight, I thought Dos Santos was very hittable for him. He kept hitting a few times, but there was no knockout punch there. And if you're Marlon Vera, I think I'm going to use kicks. You know, those front kicks, head kicks a lot. You know, Marlon Vera likes to use that because he doesn't mind going to the ground because he's quite confident on his guard with his with his submission game from triangles to arm bars. So I think you might see Marlon try to negate Andre's striking with the kicks, the teeps, etc., and just really use that to maybe just frustrate Andre, to maybe get him to overextend or commit a bit too much for the clinch work. I think Andre's got a good skill set. I think he's not a bad bantamweight in the UFC, but I think he's going to be one of those guys with a kind of 50-50 record. He'll win some, lose some, but predominantly I'm going to say Marlon Vera, like you say, he's on a win streak. He's on a good form. He is looking half decent, to be fair, compared to some of the other guys in that division. And I think he can get submission win. I think he'll throw kicks on purpose because he's confident about his ground game. I think he might get taken down by Andre, and submission like a triangle or armbar off his guard might pop up. But I'll probably go with a submission win for Marlon Vera there in that fight. Next up we have in the women's flyweight division, JJ Aldrich against Lauren Mueller. This matchup is an interesting one because they're both very aggressive girls. You know, they both come forward, and JJ Aldrich, I think she's got good cardio, she's got good output, she's got nice aggressive behaviour on her. Lauren Mueller, she's the same, but I think Lauren's starting to grow a little bit more with the head movement and the footwork a little bit better. She is getting slowly, she shows moments in fights where she's getting that confidence, training with Dominic Cruz, the Katzenganos, that kind of, is it Dominant MMA that's the gym? Yeah.
Alliance.
Sorry?
Alliance MMA.
Alliance MMA. My apologies. Alliance MMA. She is growing, developing there. You do see it in the fights. She's starting to get that footwork. I would like to see her just work on the fundamentals a bit more, because it's nice having the flashy stuff, but if you're not able to execute it enough, she's still got a bit of a low fight IQ, getting caught in the armbar she did in the last. So JJ Aldrich, I think Lauren's probably going to win this with the grappling side of things. I think JJ, I'm not overly confident on either one of them. I think JJ Aldrich pressure, striking would be fantastic, but I think Lauren Mueller and JJ Aldrich are going to clash a lot in this fight with the clinch work, and I think Lauren can get the grappling down and get the takedowns, and that's where I think she could probably just win the fight with the grappling aspect. I think on the feet, JJ Aldrich 110% has a chance of winning this. If she can keep the fight standing all 3 rounds, I'd go JJ Aldrich, but I just feel like Lauren Mueller could get the takedowns here, so I am going to pick Mueller. It's not my overly most confident pick on the card. If the fight stays standing, I think Mueller can get pieced up for the duration of the 3 rounds, like Dobson did, pieced her up a bit. But I think she can get the fight down.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go JJ Aldrich. I think that when I did my predictions for this card on my channel over on YouTube. Surprisingly, there was a lot of people. For me, surprisingly, there was a lot of people on Lauren Mueller, and I'm like, oh, maybe I don't know if I'm maybe missing something or what. Because I think JJ, although she's not, I don't want to say she's not good. She's decent. She's got a lot of experience against pretty decent people coming up through Invicta. Yeah. I think she had. She was obviously on the Ultimate Fighter. She had a load of fights as an amateur where she faced some, I mean, not great girls, but you like Rachel Ostovich, and she just had loads of amateur fights. Rocky Pennington was another one that she faced. So she's got a lot of kind of fight experience. I think let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4. She had 11 amateur fights and she's had 10 pro fights, and then she's had the Ultimate Fighter fights as well. So where Lauren Mueller's only had like 7 or 8 fights totally as well. So she's got a lot more experience kind of being in the cage than what Lauren Mueller has. I think she's better on the feet. I think she's more technical. Both girls are the same height and they have the same reach, but JJ fights out the southpaw stance, and I think that she can maybe use that to her advantage a little bit, because I think she can maybe throw some leg kicks and then come up with some combinations and that. Like you said, I think Lauren Mueller will try and tie her up a little bit. I think that's where she maybe has an advantage, but I think that JJ, I just think more experience is going to kind of play a part in this one here. When I was doing my one for this one earlier on, a lot of people were like, JJ Aldrich quit last time, and I was like, she did a little bit, but Macy Barber can switch it on, and when she switches it on, she's dangerous. She was so.
Sometimes the fighter just can't figure. It's a split-second moment as well where you've got to figure out how to stop the opponent doing what they're doing, and sometimes you just can't figure out. So it's not giving up. It's just that they've out-fought you before you can get the answer. So it looks like it, but you're just trying to calculate everything going on in that split second, and it's not easy when someone's punching you in the face.
Yeah, exactly. All it takes is that one shot to really change the mentality. I'm guessing. I've not been punched an awful lot of my time on the earth, but I'm guessing being in a fist fight, if you get hit with that one shot that just takes the wind, takes the air, takes the confidence from you, it kills you. So yeah, I've got JJ Aldrich. It could be close, but I've got to win a decision.
We can get your missus to put gloves on, and then during the next picks video, we can get a punch while I do the picks video.
She might not stop though if she starts doing it. So let's not do that.
Next up, we have a rescheduled bout in the middleweight division. Marvin Vettori against Andrew Sanchez. So it's been a bit of fire now because the fight got moved around as well. Vettori is spitting fire, bro. Has that maybe changed the way you're looking at things, or are you still going to same pick as you were last time? What are you looking at now?
No, I'm still going to. I'm going to pick Vettori, but it's got a little bit more interesting after.
Yeah.
Last fight got cancelled because he came out absolutely expletives everywhere, and he was like really getting into. And that must be tough, obviously, if you went through a whole training camp, you made the weight, and then the fight was pulled or whatever it may be. So that must be a tough thing to overcome. But his choice was to go online and film himself absolutely ripping Andrew Sanchez a new arsehole. So. Like I say, I'm not going to change my pick. I think Vettori, over a 15-minute span in the fight, has more. I think he's a tough kid. First of all, I think he's a tough kid. I think he's going to start making progress in his game, I feel. And like he catches a second wind, which some guys. Sometimes I've been a little bit worried about his gas tank, but like I say, he keeps on fighting and he never gives up on himself. Where Sanchez, I don't think he's got that second wind in him, but I think he's starting to kind of put it all together, being at TriStar. He's obviously with a good head coach there. I just like Marvin Vettori. I think that he's going to be dangerous in this one. I think he's going to be able to come for blood. But I'm going to pick him to win via TKO in the third.
Nice, yeah. I think I'm with you as well. Same as last time. I think Vettori. I just don't feel like Andrew Sanchez got that. I think he's got a really good first round in him. He's got a really good first round, but I feel like he puts all his eggs in one basket in the first round and doesn't give himself anything more for the second and third enough. And I think Vettori can definitely just take advantage of that. As long as Vettori can keep his head switched on for the first round, not let the emotions get annoyed, just maybe, even if he's doing it just to wind Sanchez up in the fight, it could be a psychological warfare he's doing himself, but I'm going Vettori as well. I think that over the 3 rounds, he could definitely get the win. I think Sanchez, is a bit of he's got a head like coconut. He can't take a punch. I'll go with Vettori decision win, but either way, it's going to be. I think this one. I'd move this to the main card. See, now you've lost that other fight before. That's one I'd move at the start of the main card maybe. But next up we have in the welterweight division, Miguel Baeza against Hector Aldana, which is one of the lower level fights on the card. Let's be fair. Hector Aldana is still in the UFC, and there's a reason why he's still in the UFC. So he can give new guys like Miguel a win. That's pretty much why he's still there. That's the only. I can't think of any other reason why. But to be fair to Miguel, he actually isn't a bad fighter. He was on the Dana White Contender Series. He got himself a decision win against Reina. Is that the one where Reina didn't make the weight as well? Is that the one where?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he came over quite. He came over quite heavy in that. In that one as well. But he Reina took that one on short notice. I think it's like 10 days notice or something like that. Missed it by quite a bit. But his other fights outside of it, he's got good hands. Miguel's got good power in his hands. I think this will be a stand-up fight. I don't really rate much about Hector Aldana. If I'm brutally honest, folks, I can't really. I just don't know what else to say about Hector Aldana. I've already said it in previous podcasts. There's not much to write home about. I really see this as an introduction for Miguel to come into the UFC, get a win, look good on the camera, maybe a fight finish, highlight reel thing to get him going. Because remember, the UFC is a business. They don't care about the fighter. They care about the brand, and the brand might be Miguel. That's how we sell Miguel. So I'm going to go Miguel finish on Hector Aldana. I think he can get a nice win, and just Hector Aldana will get his pink slip, and off he goes. And Miguel will go forward and carry on his career looking good. I think with his hands, I think he'll probably land on Hector quite heavy.
Yeah, I've picked Hector Aldana to win a fight before, and it's. No, that never really worked out for me again, so I kind of learned from that, and I said to myself, I don't think I'll be picking this guy in UFC fights anymore. And to be fair, like he had his last loss against Staropoli, but before I went to UFC, and I've said this earlier on in my one, it's like I didn't really like what I seen from Staropoli, but obviously during the 2 years or 3 years he was off, he made huge improvements, and since he's been in the UFC, he's looked fantastic, to be fair to him. So the UFC are trying to set Miguel up here with a win. To be fair, these Dana White contender guys are kind of struggling a little bit because Vettori lost last week, and I could not believe he lost that fight. If I'm being honest, fair play to Callum Porter though, because he fought his heart out. But like I said, I've picked Hector Aldana before. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to pick Baeza. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter, but I think Aldana is very, very dangerous early on. So be careful if they start swinging fists around a little bit. But like I say, Baeza's got good striking himself. I think he can mix it up, and I think he can stop kind of Hector Aldana. Even though Aldana might not be great, but he's very, very tough. But I'll pick Miguel Baeza to win via maybe a late stoppage in this one.
Okay, next up in the welterweight division, interesting matchup. Max Griffin against Alex Morono.
Yeah.
Interesting one, bro. I like it, man. It's two decent welterweights, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I like the improvements I've seen from Max Griffin. I didn't think when he first came in, I didn't think he would be as good. I didn't think he would win all that many fights. And I know he's pretty much like a 500 fighter in the UFC, but I mean, a win over Mike Perry is nice to have. That win over Imadaev last time out was good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hype on Imadaev coming in there. He's predominantly a striker. He is a little bit ropey as the fight goes on. His cardio kind of depletes a little bit, and his chin stays in the air. But he can mix it up. Like he did that. I think he's a fairly decent striker. I think he's a good grappler, and I think he fights well to a game plan as well. That's what he showed me last time out. He got robbed, I think, against Thiago Alves. I think anywhere else in the world he wins that outside of Thiago Alves' hometown in Brazil. Outstruck him, took him down, passed his guard, you name it. So he's probably got a winning record, I should say. I was going to say a 500 record, but he's probably just over a 500 fighter. Where Alex Morono was a guy who's kind of roundabout, kind of similar in my opinion. He's not got any huge, big wins on his resume. You look, it's like Zach Otto, Song Kanan, Buckman, Montasri, Noak, the 2 guys that I said last day, they've both retired. Buckman's retired as well, so 3 guys that he's beaten in the UFC have all retired. But he's solid, he's very tough, and he's very, very game, a very game fighter. And you can never write him off because he comes at you, he's very, very technical with his striking, but can also get kind of wild and loose with it, throws in leg kicks. And I think that's where he might have an advantage as the fight goes on. I think he can keep his cardio a little bit better. And saying that, Max Griffin, I watched James Lynch's interview with him. I think he's been doing things with like military people to get his cardio.
Yeah, hypoxics with the swimming. You see, it's a way to increase your VO2 level. There's a thing I learned in the Royal Marines with the hypoxics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's bound to help him big time. So I just like the all around style of Max Griffin. I think he's a really good solid fighter. I think he's turned himself into a good solid fighter. But I wouldn't write Morono off. I see this being pretty close, but my pick's going to be Max Griffin, probably by a very, 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 very close decision.
Yeah, I'm with Max as well. I just feel that the grappling aspect, he's very dogged in getting that takedown. He doesn't stop. He keeps that pressure on. And to be fair, he's good at getting the takedowns. And when he's on top, he does stay on top a bit. Especially in the first round. He does have some strikes in himself as well. So I think that kind of catches guys off a lot because you can't not pay attention to the striking. Because if he lands it, he does hit a bit heavy. You saw Mike Perry, the bloody face and stuff. So Max has the power in himself. But because he's got that good grappling, it kind of makes guys a bit tentative sometimes when they're fighting him. I think Alex has got good footwork. I think this is where Max has to time that footwork. I want to say he's got a karate or taekwondo background, Alex Morono. Probably taekwondo, I believe it is.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I would try to hopefully get the timing on Alex with the footwork in and out movement, with that in movement, time those takedowns. And if Max has done those hypoxics, which is effectively, folks, you basically hold your breath and you swim underwater as far as you can, and then you come up for one breath down and keep going. It's a good one to build up your lungs. If he's been doing that kind of thing, it's great. I used it and it's fantastic. If that's improved his cardio, he'll just be a harder guy to fight then, because it means he'll grapple harder for longer. And if you can get 2 solid rounds in you, you're going to be exhausted because you've had to defend the takedowns and get up. So I'm going to go with Max Griffin decision, and I think I hope he has boosted that cardio, because it'd be interesting to see if he can keep that pressure for that a bit longer, because he is a horrible guy to fight. So yeah, decision win for Max Griffin for me. Next up we have the return of a fighter, finally. But we have Figueiredo against Elliott. Man, it's good to see Tim Elliott back. ACL or MCL injury or whatever it was he had done. He had the surgery. He was talking about it back at UFC Liverpool when he had Gina there fighting. He was saying he had to get surgery, so he already knew he was going to be out for a bit, but he helped the fight camp for her and stuff like that, and then he got the surgery. I'll be honest, mate, I know he's been out for about 2 years, but I'm going Tim Elliott. Straight off the bat. He's awkward. He's awkward striking with a switching stance, throws weird punches. Not a bad way. He's actually not a bad striker. And on the ground, he's one of the best scramblers about. When you hit that mat, he fights, he's dogged, he's got great scrambling to get for submissions or takedown, reversals, etc. He just fights for 15 minutes, 3 rounds, and he doesn't stop. Fantastic gas tank, and he makes a fight ugly for fighters sometimes. Figueiredo is a top fighter. You know, been around the game, AXC, well, it feels like a long time, but he's just an experienced fighter. But I think they put him back in, Elliott back in against one of the top guys, because that's what he is. And I know he beat Pantoja, and he looked fantastic in that fight, but I actually got Elliott here. I think Elliott has got just bags of not just energy, but question marks for Figueiredo to try and figure out. And he's just too unpredictable to get that to catch. I know he's been stopped himself, like Ben Nijam stopped him, which is a weird one. But as a whole, I'm going to go with Tim Elliott. It sounds weird, but I just feel like Tim Elliott can maybe surprise people here in this fight. He's had time off, time to recover, time to adjust himself and look at things. I'm going to go Tim Elliott, mate. I'm going to go out for the outside the box. I know he won't be a favourite. I know Figueiredo will be a favourite by quite a bit. But I'm going to Elliott, bro.
Yeah, like I kind of agree with you in the fact I think this is a really tough fight for Figueiredo to pick up. I think Elliott's never an easy fight for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It's even though Benavidez kind of ran through him early, he says like this guy's really, really tough. He's really a hard guy to face. He never really stops. He's always kind of going. So you have to really, if you catch him in a submission or you catch him with a good shot, you've got to take him out because he doesn't stop. Like I say, that injury, he did say in Liverpool last year that he was going to be out for a while. I think was it the ACL? Did you say it was?
Yeah, I think it was ACL. He was.
ACL. Yeah. I remember it now. Yeah, that's a tough one to come back for. He's not fought since like 2017. So, and he's coming in against Figueiredo, who I thought looked fantastic against Pantoja. The guys kind of went at each other. You could see who the guy with the real power in that division. You can see who it is. When he puts it all together, Figueiredo can really, really crack and be a really tough fighter to face. But I think I'm with you. I think Tim Elliott can give him some like really rough spots in here. The only time we've seen kind of Figueiredo took down like Formiga, who timed his like he countered
beautiful that was, yeah,
beautifully in that fight there and really won the fight through that and really just frustrated Deiveson to the fact where he just couldn't really get anything off, and the timing of Formiga's takedowns were just winning the fight. And then he comes back against Pantoja. That was just blood and guts, man. That was a great fight. I'm going to side on Deiveson Figueiredo's side, but honestly, I think it's a very, very tough fight. If this was a fight where Elliott had fought more recently, I think I might change my tune in this fight a little bit because, like I say, Timmy is a rough fighter to face because he's go, and he can get takedowns. He's very, very strong, very fast. But like I said, I don't think he wants to stand up with someone like a Figueiredo here, so he has to try and get the fight to the ground. If he gets it there, if he can get the back, he can get into like side control, then Deiveson could be in a lot of trouble. But I just think he's going to struggle to take him down. I think that means he's going to have to stand up with him. I think Deiveson's a better striker overall, hits harder, a bit more technical with his strikes, where Elliott's a bit wilder. You don't know really what he's going to throw. I'm going to pick Deiveson Figueiredo, but this could be close, and I actually don't mind your pick of Elliott. I think that's not a bad one to kind of have a crack on at that.
Yeah, because it's just so unpredictable. It just catches people out, you know. And I kind of like that about it, though. That's what I like about him. And he's a nice guy as well. Light heavyweight matchup next. Ryan Spann, Devin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I won't lie, I actually found this a bit of a tough one to pick.
Yeah, I'm on Devin Clark's side actually in this one, which kind of surprised me because before I went into watching a couple of fights, I thought this might be a good one for Ryan Spann, but I think Devin Clark can get takedowns, and I think that's where he's going to win the fight if he wins the fight, because I don't think he's as good a striker as what Ryan Spann is. I know that he's a smaller guy. He's like a small light heavyweight at 6 feet, where Spann's like 6'5", 6'6", I want to say.
79-inch reach advantage as well.
Is it 79-inch reach? So that's definitely more than what Devin Clark is. And he's built like really stocky at the bottom with his kicks and so on. And that's why he grapples. He's very, very strong. Everything comes through through the legs and through the hips, and you can see that there. And when you look at his fights going back a few fights, sorry, I should say, the only one that really I didn't like from Devin Clark's side, and there is a couple because he's won a few fights, lost a few fights, but didn't like the way he fought Alexander Rakic.
Yeah,
he must have known in that fight that, and I know he came out pretty wild, and he caught him and he hit Rakic a couple of times. His bread and butter in that fight was to be the grappling, but he decided to stand up with Rakic, and ultimately he got fanned out in the end of that first round with a back fist. But if you look at the fights beforehand, the Jake Collier fight, the Mike Rodriguez, he gets multiple takedowns. Once he gets you there, he's pretty heavy as well. But you can usually work your way back to your feet against him. That's why he gets kind of numerous takedowns. But he is very, very strong in the clinch. And that's where I think he's going to want to take this fight. But just don't stand up with Ryan Spann, because Spann's come out. I cannot believe I picked Nogueira against him, who's slow, aging. Where you've got Ryan Spann who's coming in, who's more hungry to get the win. I know it was in Brazil, and Nog would obviously want to win in Brazil. But I just think that Devin Clark's going to do enough to get into the clinch here, maybe up against the cage, get takedowns, and kind of win the fight through that. And usually when he gets takedowns, he wins fights. So I'll go Devin Clark to win via a decision in this one.
I really am a fan of Ryan Spann. I think he's got a lot of good skills about him. He's got a lot going for him. I think he can offer a lot in the light heavyweight division. I just don't think he will this time. And with Devin Clark, I think when I watch Ryan's striking, he's not thinking about the end product. And what I mean by that is he's not thinking about the potential dangers, the return punch, the takedown options. And sometimes he overextends a bit. And for Devin Clark, he is almost like a grappler's kind of dream. Ryan Spann's open for the takedowns quite often, and he's actually not that good at defending them. He gets taken down quite easily on some of his fights. Whether that be because he feels confident enough to get up quick, but even then, I've seen he's kind of stuck when he's got someone in his guard. He gets a bit stuck himself. The dude's really big and long. He should have a very good guard game. He should have high guard, good armbar attempts, good triangle attempts, but he doesn't seem to have it. And I'm Devin Clark all the way here. I think Devin can strike aggressively, shoot down low, get the takedowns in, and get Ryan Spann down. I think it will be just a rinse and repeat for the 3 rounds for Devin Clark. It doesn't sound exciting, but I think Devin Clark can just really tire Spann out, especially with the hands. Spann with those long arms and reach, it's a danger. But if you can get at least a round and a half of hard grappling in, suddenly those long arms are tired. It's not as quick, not as much pop. I think Clark just has to look out for a potential knee from Spann for shooting in, and uppercuts as well. Because that's what I think Spann got Nogueira with the uppercut, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it did, yeah. So it's just something he's got to look out for, Clark, when he's shooting in. Maybe try to get Clark to get his hands up or time it properly. And I think he should get the decision win for Devin Clark. Next up, we have a main event of the prelims. Someone's going to sleep. Niko Price, James Vick. I don't think this is going 3 rounds. Now, Niko Price is an anomaly in the welterweight division because he wins fights and then he loses fights that he shouldn't. He's weird. He's fun to watch though. Like, I can't take that off him. But I think he's come back too soon. I'm not happy that he's fighting. So July he got knocked out. So basically end of July. So August, September. 2 months, 2 months and a couple of weeks, if that 2.5 months max he's had from a knockout or TKO. Sorry, even still, that's he's had to have a bit of rest, straight to sparring again, if he's been sparring. I know James Vick isn't the most confident pick in the world with his chin, but at welterweight, he should look a lot better. He should look a lot stronger. His chin should be a lot better. He'll fit in that welterweight division so good. Like, I know he's lost in July as well to Dan Hooker. He got stopped as well. The pair of them are weirdly fighting a bit early. I don't know if it's just me. If I was the pair of them, I would have went, yeah, I'm okay for November, December time, maybe. But they're both on. I'm going to go with James Vick for the win. Because I don't know who to pick in this one. Because I've got a weird feeling Niko Price is going to start Vick straight on, but it's a horrible one to pick. I'm going to go James Vick because I think a lot of the guys who went from 55 to 170 actually turned out okay, and they've put on really good performances. I think James Vick will find his feet in the welterweight division, and his head will look not as mental when he's 170 pounds. But yeah, I'm going to go James Vick. I think he can actually, cause Price problems, keep him at distance, and I think he'll have a lot more in his chin than he would do normally. Whereas Niko Price, I don't know how his chin's going to be. If I'm Vick, I'm going to use kicks and straight punches and try to get Niko out there. Niko's going to be a little bit erratic with his strikes, but I'm going to go James Vick.
Yeah, Niko Price is just a crazy, crazy guy. Like, he really... To be fair to him, in that Jeff Neal fight, he hit Jeff Neal with some big strikes as well. He hurt him a little bit, but his game plan kind of goes out the window. He did it with Al Hassan, he did it with Tim Means. He was getting picked apart by Tim Means, but he's got that one shot power that can knock you out. So, and again, someone like James Vick, who his chin is dreadful. Now, I don't think moving up to 170 is going to change that. I just listened to what James Vick's been saying. I think he's realised his fundamentals is off. He's dropping his hands. He's leaving that head in the air for everybody to get at. And they've got people like Gracie absolutely destroyed his chin. Paul Felder was landing at bay. That was a close fight. And then Dan Hooker caught him with a big shot. That's the thing here. If he can keep his hands up and not take a flush shot, he's a hard guy to face. You've seen that run that he initially made through the 155 division. He's massive, massive reach. I think they've both got similar reaches in this one here, but this is a do-or-die fight for James Vick. Like, if he loses 4 in a row, the UFC's got kind of every excuse to cut him if they want. Niko Price, I think, is someone that's going to... the UFC would keep anyway, because no matter what happens in his fights, he always puts unbelievable fights, pretty much, and great finishes. He's did that since he came into the UFC. I mean, you look at his fights. There was the Vicente Luque one, which was a little bit back and forward. Lost that one via submission. Got the finish against George Sullivan. Then there was the Randy Brown knockout where he was off his back. He knocked him out. Yeah, Al Hassan fight. Just went into a firefight with an absolute slugger, and Al Hassan can't do that.
No.
Tim Means was really, he was lighting him up in that first round, but then he just pulled it round with a massive right hook and completely destroyed Tim Means and destroyed his ankle as well, the way he fell. Then Jeff Neal, he just went after him and tried to knock him out, and Jeff Neal's a power puncher, and eventually he managed to catch the cleaner shots. But he's going to come out here, he's going to be super aggressive. I just think James Vick, looking at him as a fighter, I think all around is the better fighter. I think he can fight to a game plan better, but keep your hands up and don't have your chin in there, because if all it takes is for Niko Price to nick him just once, I think, and he could fold up like an accordion.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he's going to have £15. It's kind of weird. He was saying on James Lynch's interview, like, he doesn't feel like he's sacrificing as much because he's not having to make that cut. And like, I seen him in Vegas when he fought Glico Franca, and I was like, dude, how are you making 155? Craziness.
Big cut. And it'll be a cut to 170 still.
Yeah.
But not as dire.
Yeah, but and then I'm thinking to myself, just thinking now he's going to 170, I was like, how do you make 155? I remember seeing him and he's like so tall, very thin, but like when the weight comes off, his face looks horrific. But yeah, I hope he gets it done here. Niko Price, I've never really been a fan of his, but he is crazy to watch. I'm going to go James Vick. I think he fights a very, very safe fight. He maybe tries to clinch up with Niko Price a little bit, maybe try and get a takedown if he can. But he has to obviously contend with him in the striking department and try and land his own shots and watch Niko doesn't land the big power shot to knock him out. But I'm going to take James Vick to win this fight here and kind of introduce himself to 170 with a nice win here.
Interesting matchup next. The ever-active Eryk Anders kicking off the main card against Gerald Meerschaert. Man, interesting matchup because Eryk going back down on 185. It seems he's happy to jump between the two.
Yeah. I'm a little bit... I actually thought this was going to be at 205 until somebody kind of said to me it's 185. I'm like, why is he going back down? Well, maybe he just took the fight because he had the opportunity to fight at 205, which is fair enough. And who's against them was a guy that really had no right ever being in the UFC after his 3 losses. But really tough guy. Took a licking against Clale Roundtree and still managed to survive through that one. So, like, his durability is maybe a little bit questionable, but he's not fighting at like an absolute power puncher and Meerschaert that he was with Clale Roundtree. Meerschaert's going to want to tie him up and look to take him to the ground. That's going to be where he wants to take it, because that's where his best chance of winning the fight is, controlling him down there. Anders has got the better striking, more power. His takedown defense is not bad. I think it's like 75%, so it's not overly too bad. But I've never been the best guy for getting reads on Gerald Meerschaert fights. I think that obviously he's had a lot of fights, very, very experienced, and he kind of looks to take the fight to the ground. But even when you take the fight to the ground with him, you can outclass him. And like, it's weird because I think he's very, very good being offensive on the ground, but I think when it's defensive, I don't think he's as good. It showed that in the Hermansson fight, I thought. But Hermansson's a bit of a beast when it goes to the ground as well, to be fair. I thought he was a little bit unlucky against Kevin Holland because he did get takedowns in that fight and advanced position many, many times and still managed to lose the fight, which was a little bit tough on him. And then was pretty lacklustre fight against Trayvon Giles, and he just did enough to kind of get the submission late in the third round there and win. I've got Eryk Anders. I think he can knock him out, actually, if not win a decision, but I'm going to go Eryk Anders by a knockout, maybe second round, early third round for me in that one.
Yeah, I feel for me, Gerald, he's a bit of a slow starter
in
fights, and it's detrimental to him in the fight game, especially in the highest level. Eryk Anders, he's not really a slow starter. He's fast, he's aggressive. He actually got a good explosive kind of movement as well from that American football kind of background. And he uses it well to his advantage. And I think Gerald will be going straight for the takedowns in the first round, shooting heavy. I think Eryk Anders just needs to keep those hips heavy, keep that posture. And I think part of that is, like you say, Will, he's got good takedown defense. That'll be partly, again, from American football background, good, strong hips, powerful, digging in with the feet, to drive an opponent back in that sport. It replicates into the MMA game. But I just think, for me, I like Gerald Meerschaert as a fighter. I think he's nice and technical, but I think Eryk Anders is just going to be aggressive. He's going to be coming forward and throwing heavy. I just think it will just kind of, not cluster, but kind of overwhelm Gerald Meerschaert with a bit of aggressiveness. Keep it standing, just keep going forward. The pair of them are kind of, I'd say they're kind of in the middle of the, like, kind of not the top echelon, they're not down the bottom. I think they're right kind of okay middleweights. They're never going to be top 10 or possibly top 15, but they're never going to be those the gatekeepers at the very bottom. I think that, they're going to always offer a tough fight for both any opponent. But yeah, I'm with you. I've got Eryk Anders. I think he'll maybe stop Gerald, because I think in the first round, even, because I think Gerald Meerschaert's just a bit slow off the mark, and it just bites him in the ass sometimes in some of his fights. You see him come in slow, and you just think, dude, if you're just a bit more on your toes, a bit more active, you might get the win here. So I'm going to go with Eryk Anders. Gerald could bloody get a takedown and submit him, who knows, but I'm going to go Anders for stoppage as well. Well, next up, though, lightweight division, Matt Frevola against Luis Pena. Man, I'm going to go Matt Frevola right off the bat. Now, reason why I go Matt Frevola, yeah, he gets punched in the face. I won't lie. He's not exactly the best best guy at head movement, but he's got a really good chin, super good cardio, throws punches and bunches. But Pena's last win was against Matt Wiman. And as much as that, people might go, yeah, Matt Wiman had been out for about a century. And I wasn't overly impressed, because I was like, I expected it. I wasn't even, do you know what? I don't even count that as a win. I just think Frevola's just uber aggressive, and he won't be too standoffish against Luis Pena. Luis Pena tries to be the kind of tall, the big, domineering kind of a character. I think Frevola just won't have any of it. I think his cardio is going to be there. He's going to throw high output. Leg kicks will be there. I think Pena is there for those leg kicks all day long. Those calf kicks, especially with that stance that Pena has, he's there for options for kicks. Set up the punches from those, or disguise the kicks with the punches. I'm going to go Matt Frevola. I think he caused Pena problems here. It's not that I have anything against Luis Pena. I just feel that he's a good fighter, Luis Pena, but I just feel Frevola's just a horrible matchup to have, if I'm honest. I don't think anyone's going to look forward to Frevola. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but he's just an awkward, annoying fighter, because he's got a good chin, good endurance, and just he will swing, and that kid can crack. So I'm going to go with Frevola. I'm going to go for Frevola decision, maybe late stoppage, but I'm going to go Frevola, mate. I think a lot of people will be high on Pena, but I'm going Frevola.
Yeah, I've never really been super high on Luis Pena, but I've got him winning this fight, which is a little. Well, I was actually, when I came into this one, I thought, yeah, I like Frevola a lot. I think he reminds me kind of like Steven Peterson. I think Frevola's a little bit more kind of, I don't want to say well-rounded, but I think maybe a bit more polished off than what Steven Peterson is. Not by much, but both kind of wild guys that like to kind of really push the pace and get takedowns and throw a lot of strikes. I tried to bet Steven Peterson against Luis Pena. That was at 145. He missed that weight really badly, and Pena did enough to kind of win that fight. I don't think it was a great performance, but since then, look, decent, obviously, against... in fact, who was the fighter I picked against Pena? Trezano. Trezano was a massive underdog in that one. I was like, dude, what is this? Why is this guy so favoured after a win against Richie Smullen, against the guy who went on to win the show, and cashed a big underdog there? But then I thought he looked good against Matt Wyman, but like you said, a guy that's been out for as long as Matt Wyman is, that was like Luis Pena couldn't really ask for a better kind of matchup, if we're being honest. But he looked good. I thought he pepped him with a lot of strikes in that one, kind of busted him up a little bit. Wyman looked rusty. No surprise there. Got outstruck fairly easily. And like when Wyman was trying to attempt takedowns, he was moving to different positions and hitting him with a lot of signature, like a lot of strikes. Frevola, I like watching Frevola fight because you know you're going to get a little bit of action with this guy.
Yeah.
I think I bet him last time out against Jalen Turner. He was an underdog in that one there, and he came through and got the decision there. He timed his takedowns very well against another kind of tall guy, which is something that he maybe kind of specialises in a little bit. But I kind of seem to think that Pena's got better takedown defence than what Jalen Turner had, because he looked like a fish out of water kind of on the ground with Frevola. He kind of passed the guard quite easily. I've got a funny feeling I might regret this picking Luis Pena, because like I said, I'm not overly high on him as a fighter. This whole violent Bob Ross thing doesn't really appeal to me. But I think he's probably gained himself a little bit of confidence after these 2 wins. If he can really fight at distance and keep Frevola and kind of counter him really well, I think he can start to kind of frustrate Frevola a little bit and then kind of win very, very close rounds. So I've got Luis Pena for the win via decision, but I prefer to see Frevola win, but I've just got a feeling that Pena's going to eke it on the scorecards.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. It's not an easy one to pick. And next up, though, I think this is a tough one as well. I think you got women's strawweight, Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas. Mackenzie Dern coming back after a baby, so Mackenzie Milf Dern against Amanda Ribas. I enjoyed watching the footage on this one from a grappling aspect for the pair of them. But what are you looking forward to, bro?
Yeah, I love Mackenzie Dern personally. I don't know what it is. I think she's.
I wonder what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's an absolute stunner as well. But I don't know. I really like watching her fight. I did before she went to the UFC. There was the whole thing regarding her accent changing, which is quite funny. But I've always just been a fan of hers. I remember watching her jiu-jitsu stuff kind of years ago, and always being a kind of fan of her that through as well. And to see her come into the UFC or come through in MMA and make her run through LFA, which was a good one. Then she managed that kind of UFC light on her in Victor, where she caught a late submission in the third, and she's won her 2 fights in the UFC. But I think she's got all the makings of being a finisher, because she's got we don't even need to really talk about her jiu-jitsu skills, but I think she's got the big power on her feet where she can hurt girls. And I said this the last time she fought Amanda Bobby Cooper, that if they kind of throw clean strikes, I think that Dern will land the cleaner or heavier strikes, and I feel that in this match here. And saying that, she missed weight badly in that fight. She missed it like by 8 pounds or something.
Yeah, huge.
But she was massive down in that one. And then she's coming back here 4 months after having a baby. So, but to be fair, see, if you go and look on Instagram, she looks fantastic. She looks in amazing condition.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are kind of going against her for the simple fact she's had a baby, which usually when you do that in the UFC, it's maybe not a bad ploy, but you don't have many people like Mackenzie, who's like only 26, I want to say she is, so she's still really young, where you had people like Alexis Davis that were doing it in 32, 33 years old. So she's kind of coming into the prime of her career. But when you look at matchup to matchup here, you've got Ribas, who came into the UFC, and I was, I think I bet her actually last time out. I can't remember. Who was she against again? Let me see.
What was her name? Emily Whitmire.
Whitmire, yeah. And I had no idea why she was such a big underdog. I think it was probably because her first fight in the UFC. And
I think was she short notice now?
I don't know, but Whitmire had won a few fights, I think, as well, so that's why she was being favoured, and I got her as an underdog. But you can see where her bread and butter is, because she wants to get the fight to the ground. She's not going to want to do that here with Mackenzie Dern. because Mackenzie Dern's on a far bigger level than what Ribas is on the ground. When it comes to the feet, maybe her best option is to try and survive, not survive, but do enough on the feet where maybe Mackenzie starts to fade, which she probably will in this one. But when I look at it, I think that Mackenzie's got the striking advantage, and she's most definitely got the jiu-jitsu advantage. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think, where does Ribas really have a huge advantage in this one? Maybe if Mackenzie tires, she can take over the fight and maybe show some wrestling, or maybe be improved on the feet, and maybe the power's kind of been depleted from Mackenzie's side. But I think this is a good fight for Mackenzie to come back to. I think this is a tough fight for Ribas. Like, it's a tough stylistic matchup for Ribas. So I like Mackenzie there. I'm pretty comfortable. I think she could get a stoppage in this one. So I've got Mackenzie inside the first 2 rounds to win by KO or submission, either or. But I've got her to win this fight.
Yeah, Mackenzie she throws hard because she doesn't care about getting taken down.
No, yeah.
She'll throw hard because she's like, yeah, you shoot under if you want, or go for the grapple, because that's what I want anyway. So that's what you get of a lot of fighters who have got that high level grappling. They tend to throw heavy leather because they've got that confidence of, I'm okay on my back, you're the one who isn't. So yeah, it's that kind of first child, having a kid, coming back kind of syndrome that seems to have an effect on fighters. She looks good in training, physique wise, so maybe it was a benefit. Who knows? Being pregnant, she might have even got her weight down during the pregnancy, which sounds weird, but obviously just her natural weight. And then obviously when she had the child, she maybe was just building up to it. Amanda Ribas, she's not bad actually. Amanda Ribas got some grappling aspects to her. She's actually got some grappling background, so she's an accomplished grappler in her own right. Obviously, Mackenzie Dern's a more prominent figure in that kind of aspect. So MMA jiu-jitsu obviously is very different than standard jiu-jitsu. So we'll see how that goes. I've got a bit tentative because I tell you what, if Mackenzie Dern misses weight again, for the love of money, they cannot let her keep trying to make that weight class. And she can't say, oh, it's because I've had a kid, because you'd be like, well, you shouldn't have took the fight. So I'm gonna go Mackenzie Dern as well, because I think she'll just be super aggressive, and she'll hope the fight goes to the ground if she doesn't, because I think she'll just want to get the fight down. But it's not an easy fight, 4 months. No, it's not easy, but I'm going to give Mackenzie Dern the fight because I think skill set wise, like you say, Will, throws the big power, happy to get to the ground, unless Ribas can just jab, and circle away, which I don't think it's in Ribas to fight, really. Her style, if you look at the fights, it's not really in her. She likes to get quite aggressive too, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great, a fun matchup. Next up we have Cub Swanson getting Kron Gracie. Oh man, I feel bad for Cub, man. Like, what's Cub's Achilles heel? Kind of grappling and wrestling side of things, man, and they just give Kron Gracie to Cub Swanson. Now, don't get me wrong, they're pushing. I think they're pushing Kron a bit because Cub Swanson's a name. I think that's a bit of a push. So they got a bit of confidence. So this can really backfire for Kron Gracie, because if Cub Swanson bothers any time now to put a brain cell in and fight smart and box only, because that's all he has to do in his fight is box. He could box the face off Kron Gracie and take it for 3 rounds, just circle punch. He's done loads of boxing, Cub Swanson. He focused a lot on it for quite a while. Take away the flashy kicks and all that jazz, just focus on that boxing. Cub could win. But Kron Gracie just has to get a hold of you, and he sticks on like glue, vice-like grip. I'm going with Kron Gracie. I think he can get the takedown on Cub Swanson because it's all he needs. And I've never had that much confidence in Cub's takedown defense. It's never been that good. Cub Swanson looks about 60 in his recent picture on Instagram, the black and white photograph. I thought it was a picture of his dad. He looked really aged in that photograph. I was like, God damn it, man. But I'm going with Kron Gracie, man. I think he can actually get the takedown and get the submission win. I think they've been smart. They know Cub's on the decline, not on the incline anymore. Cub's kind of the name to get on your, little feather in your cap. What was he, 35 years old, Cub Swanson? So, it's not long left in his career, especially in the UFC. He's on a few, 3 or 4 losses in a row. I think this is the kind of fight he needs, really, to Kron Gracie to get a nice little win and walk in with a winning of Cub Swanson. I feel bad because I like Cub, but I'm going to go pick Kron Gracie by a sub, bro.
Yeah, it's fairly obvious how this fight kind of goes. If it stays standing, there's only one winner. If it goes to ground, there's really only one winner. So it's what you think is going to happen, and I think that Cub Swanson's going to keep this standing. I think Kron Gracie's going to. I think he's going to start reaching. I think he's going to, when he realises maybe that he can't get him down straight away, that then he's going to start kind of trying stuff to really get a hold of Cub Swanson. I think he's, from the outside, he's going to start picking apart Kron Gracie. When you look at Kron Gracie, obviously striking's not really that good. I think the big thing that I don't think looked great is his wrestling and his grappling, this like grapple, wrestling grappling. I don't think it's that effective. I don't think it's that good. But obviously, if he gets it to the mat one time, this fight could easily be over. Easily be over with inside a minute, easily. Because we know he's a Gracie. And he's not like one of these blown-up Gracies we've had in the past. Kron Gracie is one of the best jits guys we have in the sport. And you've seen that against Alex Caceres. Like I said, I never really thought about it. Maybe the UFC know where kind of Cubs go and maybe try to build Kron off like a multi-time fighter in the UFC and Cub Swanson, who's faced all the best guys pretty much. But I kind of looked at the Ortega fight, who's, I don't want to say he's similar to Kron Gracie because he's not, but his jiu-jitsu is very deadly as well. But once Ortega got a hold of him and got him to the ground, he was like throwing, like giving you the maddest faces ever, like he was panicking.
Yeah, I remember those faces, yeah. He was only a choke, wasn't he? Was it into the first?
Into the first, and then obviously got subbed in the second. But yeah, I don't rate Gracie's like wrestling to get it to the ground, and I think if Cub Swanson just doesn't allow him to get hold of him,
just has the box.
Up. Yeah, just box.
Just has the box.
Don't do any kicks, nothing. No. Just box with your hands and you're going to beat Kron Gracie here. Yeah. I thought the fight against Shane Burgos was, I felt he was a little bit unlucky in that fight. I thought it was a split decision. I thought Cub could have got the hand raised in that one, but went to Shane. I'm going to go Cub Swanson. I think he could knock out Kron Gracie because, like I say, Gracie's going to have to. The kind of way I'm seeing is that if Kron can't get him down, then he's going to have to start maybe coming in and doing stuff that he would never normally do to get the takedown and maybe eat a couple of shots. So he could knock him out. I think he could win a decision. I've just got Cub Swanson to win this fight. I really do. I think that he's got a good.
Needs it.
Yeah, but like I say, if it hits them at one time and Kron Gracie's got time to spare, we know which way this is going. So yeah, Cub Swanson from me.
Yeah, bro, it's going to be interesting. I want to see what kind of improvements Kron's made.
I like the matchmaking in that one. So I think it's a good fight to put together.
Main event time, though. Joanna Jedrzejczyk against Michelle Waterson. Now, that is... do you know what? A couple of years ago, I wouldn't have thought the fight was going to happen because I never thought Michelle was going to get up the rankings because I thought JJ would be queen for a while. Seems to happen now because Waterson's on a bit of a run, but bro... pretty sweet main event. See, I would have had this kind of thing on the main card in Australia and I would have been sick, but yeah. I think it's a great one for the main event in Australia. But yeah, bro, what are you looking forward to on this one? Yeah,
I'm pretty confident Joanna can actually get it done. So I do think this is a good fight for her. But I like what Michelle Waterson's been doing. I think she's been slowly, kind of gradually getting better in the kind of UFC. She's starting to put some wins together. She's beating the opponent she's kind of supposed to be beating. People like Carolina's a good one to have. Consider she fought Joanna for the belt, but Carolina's she's kind of been fed to these young girls kind of coming through and these people that want to get into that top 10 of the rankings and so on. And Michelle, really, that was a kind of close fight on the feet, but what she was doing in that one, she was getting the head and arm takedown, which she seems to get in a lot of her fights. I remember Magana, she got her with that. Courtney Casey, she got her with that. But she's on a 3-fight win streak. I just think this is her toughest opponent she's ever faced. And I think this Joanna, she's not fought, I think, in nearly a year. I think she went and got the boys done, didn't she? I think she went and got the bad boys done. So
She
I remember
did.
I went and read an interview somewhere saying that she just wanted to take time off for her body to make sure it's 100%, which is fair enough. If you've had procedures done in your body, you don't want to be going into a fight kind of soon afterwards. Coming off that loss to Valentina, where I thought she fought a good fight, but just Valentina was just more composed and more just better at this point in her career. I think she's got her number over Joanna anyway, so beat Tisha Torres very, very easily, where Torres and Waterson was a little bit close. Waterson struggled a little bit with Tisha. I just think she's, like, both girls come from, obviously, the karate side with Waterson. You've got the Muay Thai from Joanna. I think Joanna throws more. I think that Waterson's kind of main striking is like her kicks. I don't think her hands are all that great, but her kicks are fairly decent. I think that Joanna's got more speed. I think she's got more power, but even though she's not a big power puncher, but when she's throwing those combinations, she doesn't throw singular strikes where Waterson kind of throws. Don't want to say she throws just like the one shot, but she'll maybe throw a 1-2 where you've got Joanna. She'll come in, leg kick 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. She'll throw more shots, and I just like her output more. I think that if she doesn't, even if she gets taken down, I really wouldn't be worried about Joanna kind of losing the fight from there. So I've got Joanna to win very, very comfortably over 5 rounds and really kind of out-hit and outstrike Michelle for a win there. So I've got Joanna to get back on the win column here and just win the fight via decision.
Yeah, one of the things that Michelle's got is she is tough. Like, she takes some hits sometimes in some fights, and she's got a good endurance about her. With that Jackson Winklejohn camp, a little bit of stuff going on there at the moment with Frank, accusations, but as a whole, you can't fault them because she's adjusted herself in this women's strawweight division, got herself a good little streak. But she is coming against someone who, if you look at that Carolina fight, Carolina just wasn't. She's been on a bit of a dip of late. She hasn't been looking herself. And I think if Michelle fought the Carolina of a couple of years ago, I think it would have been a different fight. I think she was a way better fighter back then, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, than she has been of late. And I think she looked fantastic back then. And I think Joanna's not really lost too much of late. I think she's still looking deadly. Those leg kicks are going to be a factor. If I'm Joanna, I'm going to use the leg kicks. She's got a really good takedown defense, Joanna, as well, because Michelle Watson is trying to use takedowns a bit of late. But I think Joanna's got really good takedown defense for someone with her style of fighting. She's very good at the takedown defense, good hips, good strength about her to stop fighters getting up. I look forward to seeing what she can do. I think she can really start to exhibit herself in this kind of fight, throw the good number of combinations like 3-4 punches and with kicks in. I think Michelle will land some good kicks, but as long as Joanna just is cautious, is smart, just watches out for those kicks, she should really take advantage of this fight and really take over with the volume. And I think, like you said, Will, decision win, I'm with you on that. I think Joanna can just use like 4-5 rounds. It will just start to punch. The punch kind of differential will start to really increase. The significant strikes, you'll start to see it gradually grow each round, where she'll just literally be landing almost at will on Michelle, because Michelle will lose that spring in a step in the later rounds when you start to get a bit more tired. And when you start to be a bit more of a static opponent for Joanna, it's not the best thing. You want movement, constant movement. But I'm going to go with Joanna Jacek decision here as well. I think she'll have a good fight.
Yeah. One thing I'll not agree with, I'll just have a look at the betting line there. She's minus 400. It's a little steep.
Bit steep.
But I'm also looking at the stats here, and you look at the striking differential. You've got one person who lands 6 strikes per minute. You've got one that lands 3.6. So, and then you look, Waterson's obviously got a better kind of accuracy count because she doesn't throw as much, and she probably lands just singular strikes more, where you've got Joanna, she'll come in and she'll throw a lot of shots that actually look like she's throwing more as well. So, and she defends them better than what Waterson does as well. So I can kind of see why the line's up there. I just don't agree with it being that high.
No, it's a bit much. Considering that Joanna's lost a couple of fights of recent times as well, even though it's against the best, but she still lost them. But that's our picks. Let us know what your picks are. Put the comments down below. Let us know who you're picking for the fight card. We're going to go over to Will's bets. Will, this fight card up now. Is there anything you said before you had some bets last week that you've already put on this card? Is there anything that's standing out, or anything that's changed over since then? Have the odds changed? People went from favourites to underdogs. What kind of thing are you looking at?
Yeah, there's been bets. There's been lines that have kind of changed, quite quick. I bet Mackenzie Dern. I'll come out and say that straight away. That was the one. I thought her line. Oh my god! Actually, I thought in the UK she was minus 130, and I thought, right, I'm not going to get any better than that. I'm actually looking at the lines in America, which are probably going to be rectified over here in the UK soon enough. But Mackenzie Dern, she's went from minus 170 to minus 125 in the space of 24 hours. So lots of money's coming in on Amanda Ribas, which me is fairly surprising. In the UK, her line is still minus 163, but that might change very, very soon. So I'll be a little bit annoyed if I've kind of missed that line. But I honestly didn't expect to get a better line than 138. So we'll see if that happens. Let me just check. UK, her line is... Oh, let me see, because the lines have changed recently. 3, 4... Yeah, so it's not even that much. Yeah, it's not even that much. So it's still minus 163 is what the best I see in the UK over here right now. But like I say, that will change. So I bet her last week, middle of the week, when the line started to go up in America, and we still had the lower line over here. I just like her in that matchup. I really do. So I'm a little bit surprised that line's coming down, but people may be seeing stuff in Ribas here. The parlay that I had was Brock Weaver, who's not fighting in the card anymore, and I had him with Marlon Vera. So now that's a straight bet on Marlon Vera. I got him at minus 200, and really the reason there was lower lines there, but the reason I took him there was because Brock Weaver, his line in America to over here was completely different. So in the UK he was minus 200, in America he was minus 260. So, but obviously that fight's pulled. Looking at Marlon Vera's line now, he's minus 170, so that line's coming down. So there's money coming in on Real. Which I don't mind that actually, but yeah. So I've got 2 straight bets as of right now, and like I say, this is a far better card than last week. I totally shit the bed with betting last week. My worst ever betting night. I think the last time I had a night that bad was in Glasgow when Gunnar Nelson got pumped out. Last week was by far the worst. It was worse than that night. So yeah, it wasn't a good night. So I need to try and rebound here. But there's good bets to be made if you want to make it.
What's Miguel's odds at the moment?
Miguel minus 190.
And what about Devin Clark?
Devin Clark's an underdog at plus 120.
So Devin Clark and Miguel put together.
Yeah, that'll be. Like I said, I would just bet Devin Clark straight.
Yeah, plus 20.
If you're looking at like Miguel, you could put him with, I don't know, depending on who you're most confident, maybe a Figueiredo or I don't know.
What's
like
Vettori?
Joanna even. Sorry, what was that?
What's Vettori?
Vettori is minus 300. So Andrew Sanchez is a big underdog actually.
Jeez.
Which I think that line will come down.
Yeah, I'd say about
that line. I'll stay like that.
Minus 150 Vettori, maybe plus 150 Sanchez would be about, or maybe something like that.
But we've picked like a few underdogs like throughout the card. We've had a couple of different picks. You went with Tim Elliott, so he's plus 180.
Oh right, okay.
James Vick's plus 135. He's an underdog. You picked Frevola, he's plus 145.
Nice.
Cub Swanson's plus 150. So he's an underdog. So yeah, there is. If you've picked some dogs you like, some dog odds, that there's ones there to be had. Did you pick Lauren Mueller as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
She's plus 150.
Oh,
so
nice.
Between us, there's a lot of kind of dog picks between us. Max Griffin's minus 145, but in the UK he's minus 125, so there's a bit of value over here on him right now. So, the really good card for betting, actually. I really like a lot of the lines. The lines will start to tighten up a little bit. But it's just try to pick your spots, and that's what I didn't do last week. The spots I picked, I picked Tafa, which she got absolutely stonewalled.
Awful, wasn't he? Awful.
And I think Ali Quinta is definitely starting to decrease a little bit. I thought that was going to be a closer fight. I thought he was going to really
wrestle.
give Whitaker like a tough fight. He didn't, and then I bet Robert Whitaker as well, and that was just a bad bet from the onset really, because Izzy was just he was ready to go in that fight pretty much from the get-go. So I'm looking to rebound this week, but there is good betting odds out there.
Nice. So folks, let us know what your bets are. Put them down below, or what you're thinking, or ask if you're not sure about any of them. Give us feel free to drop us a comment. We'll come back to you as soon as we can. In the meantime, hit that sub button. Enjoy the fights this week. We'll be back again. Yes, again, because there's another fight card after this. Oh, it doesn't stop. The train don't stop. Reyes Weidman. Woo-wee. Weidman at 205. Interesting to see what he does there. You got Rodriguez against Stevens rebooked there as well. Macy Barber's back against Julian Robertson. Good fight on that one. So a handful of good fights. Rosa against Bermudez.
It's on a fight now as well.
Yeah, Molly McCann against Bella Boot or something like that. But either way, some fights on. We'll be keeping tabs on it. We'll be studying it. Enjoy. Join us next week. Thank you for listening, folks.